Hey, book friends! It's Caitlin here from Spill the Reads, and my little co host, Tishka, is sleeping behind the microphone. Here we go, little ear twitch. Tishka, say hi! Today I'm doing another book tag video. I've been tagged by one of my besties, Book Reviews with Becky, and this one is called Bookish Secrets.
That's why her hair is so big. It's full of secrets.
Here we go. Have you ever pretended to like a book when you really didn't? I imagine that I probably did this in high school to try to sound cool, but now when I think of it, I am honest about book reviews. But I remember, like, at the very, very beginning of doing booktube, maybe 10 months ago, a couple people like reached out, authors, and asked me to review their books like on Amazon and Goodreads. And I remember a couple of times I was just excited and said yes. And then these books weren't that good, but I was like a little bit nicer writing the book reviews because I didn't want to crush their creative souls. And now I've just decided that I want to try to stay away from this whole thing because I just feel too bad if I really hate a book and I've talked to the author. So now I'm stepping away from this. Let me know if you have experience with that because I personally just find it really awkward. Question number 2. Have you ever reread a book that you liked and didn't like it the second time? Nothing really comes to mind because I don't really reread books that often, but I feel like if I eventually have kids and I show them the books that I grew up reading, then would probably be the time that I realize, like, oh my gosh, these books are so bad. But I'm thinking about like Twilight. I remember just loving this when I was a teenager, and I do wonder now, like, has anyone read them as an adult? Because I imagine you might think it's kind of silly. I don't know. I'm scared of ruining the image that I have of certain books. I just remember them as being like perfect, and I don't want to think of them badly now as an adult. Okay, next one. Question 3. Do you ever skim through a book? Okay, if I start skimming through a book, that means that it's quickly heading towards do not finish. Yeah, but something does come to mind though. When I read the sci-fi book Project Hail Mary, I noticed that like I had to skim through all of the scientific parts where he's doing like mathematical formulas, um, because it just didn't make any sense to me. And at the very end of, the pages long explanation, there would be kind of like a summary. So I did kind of skim through that book. But yeah, it doesn't happen often. Question number 4. Have you ever bought a book without realizing that you already owned it? Absolutely not. Like, I'm a minimalist. I don't have a lot of stuff. I read everything on my Kobo or on the iPad. Maybe this will change for me someday. But no, I don't have like a lot of stuff hanging around. Just dying plants. I'm actually kind of self-conscious of my dead plants behind me because I look back at some old videos and they were like really thriving in the summer, and now we're coming out of winter and they're all crunchy. So they will be up and running soon. Back to health. Question 5. Have you ever read a book you wouldn't have normally picked because your book club chose it? I'm more of a buddy reader with close friends, but something that comes to mind, again, I'm going to talk about Project Hail Mary, a hard sci-fi book. I wouldn't have chosen this without one of my best friends telling me like I absolutely had to read this book because it had just this amazing ending, and I totally agree. But it's like hard sci-fi. It's 500 pages long, but it blew my mind. I love the characters. I cried so much, and I never would have picked this up had it not been for my friend kind of pushing me into it. So sometimes it's good for someone to like gently push you towards something new. I like this question. Question 6. Is there a book everyone loved but you hated? Hate with a passion. Not that I can recall, but what happens to me all the time is that I'll get FOMO from hearing everyone talk about certain books. What pops into my mind is The Wedding People and Just for the Summer. Okay, I read both of these and just thought they were okay. And that to me is like a worse feeling than hating a book because you can't really put your finger on why you didn't love it or why you hated it. It's just kind of meh, and you're like, what's wrong with me? Like, why don't I like the same things as other people? I don't know. And then it's also hard because I can't really describe it in a book review, because who wants to hear a book review that's just like, it was okay? So that bothers me more, I think, than like really hating a book with a passion. Have you ever liked a movie better than the book? Ooh, this is a good question, and one that I think I could speak about for a long time. Okay, when I think about growing up, I remember I have like core memories of the movie coming out for like a lot of popular books I read as a kid. I don't know, Harry Potter, The Hunger Games, The Sisterhood of the Traveling Pants. Like, I have really strong memories of reading the series and being so excited to see the movie. And now when I look back on these books, I actually like only see the movie version in my mind. So I know a lot of people, this is their complaint. They're like, oh no, I don't want the movie and the different characters to ruin the book for me. But I don't know, there's just only so much space in my head, and those are where the memories go. I see the actors, but I guess I do kind of have one where I thought that the show was better than the trilogy. It's the Killing Eve trilogy. This is like a cat and mouse kind of thriller that takes place all around the world, and the show adaptation was done by Phoebe Waller-Bridge, who did Fleabag, and I just thought that the vibe was so much more fun, and like more realistic as like a woman, because the books are written by a man, and it's a little bit silly. Like sometimes it feels kind of like a male fantasy because it's like two women falling in love and they're always being like super sexy, and I don't know, it just feels a little bit silly sometimes. So I guess I do like the show more. Have you ever borrowed a book and not returned it? Or has anyone ever borrowed a book from you and not returned it? I definitely took my cousin's Twilight books in high school, and I don't think I ever gave them back. Hopefully she doesn't see this video and like come asking for them, because I'm pretty sure they are at Goodwill. They've been recycled to a new generation. Okay, have you ever read a series out of order? I try to avoid doing this, but it happens unintentionally sometimes with cozy mysteries or seasonal romances. I'm just kind of unaware that there's like 20 books that came before them, but I feel like authors try to make these books at least kind of like standalone-ish. Have you ever spoiled a book for someone? I seriously hope not. I know I've probably spoiled movies before, but I'm actually going to try to say even less in my book reviews, because I don't want to spoil things for people, like mentioning triggers and stuff like that. So, what I'm going to try to be better at is, when I release a video, to also do a written version on my book blog. I've been really bad at doing this, mostly just because I don't have anyone like forcing me to do it. So I don't always do it, but I want to try to put more information in the written blog post, and maybe even if I can find a way to like hide spoilers, that way people don't come across them unintentionally, because that is just the worst. Okay, I'm going to tag some of my newer book betties, some of my newer book buddies, some thriller girlies. Okay, let's see. Millennial Book Junkie, Bookburger Reads, and Chris Reads. All three of these ladies I've been getting to know. I really like getting to know people on BookTube. So if you are not, I don't know, you haven't like said hello in the comments, say hi. I like getting to know new people, and yeah, just finding new people I have books in common with. And guess what? We're going to wake up the little one. So if you want to wake up Tishka and give him a treat, go ahead and hit that like button. All right, here we go. Tishka, you want a treat? Okay, here we go. He's going crazy. He doesn't just sleep all the time. He's actually very active. Here we go. Little bitty pieces.
Oh
Here
my
we
god.
go. Yay. He's like, finally. Finally. All right, guys. That's it for this video today. Thanks for watching. I would love to hear your answers to the questions in the comments. And yeah, thanks. And I will see you next time. Bye.
Yo quiero Taco Bell.